please.
Well, thank you, Franzi. I must say that I'm enthusiastic today being here with you. I'm not often in a company of engineers. I'm an engineer myself. I spent first part of my career as a mathematician, as an engineer, so I feel at home. Then, second reason for my enthusiasm is that I speak after ELAFE. This is a company very close to my heart, and I've been with them from the very early stages, and I cannot be more than happy to see this fast development. To say it short, to keep it short, the story that Matej didn't tell, it's not only a showcase of cooperation now with contemporary European ecosystem, but a story of a very unique leapfrogging over the ecosystems. Of course, the beginnings lay in our good universities and the founders of ELAFE that were born in Slovene scientific ecosystem in the domain concerned. But then at the valley of death time, ELAFE had to take its own way, and actually with the support of European Research Framework Program, they validated the key parts of the components of the systems that now forms innovation that is ready, as you have heard, to be on the market. So it's a very unique case. The stories will be told about that later on, but it's a very unique case of combining European, Slovene, and global ecosystems of support of innovation with Chinese investments. It's a very, very unique case that we should closely monitor on in terms of strengths and weaknesses of Slovene ecosystem. So this is a little digression in my speech, but it tells the story of coherency, actually, of the support ecosystem on European and Slovene levels, and that's actually where my presentation will have a focus on. Doesn't move on. Okay, so one of the bridges between regional and European innovation ecosystems is the concept of smart specialization. My presentation shall focus on Slovene smart specialization, but I will frame it in the context of European ecosystem, primarily because of the fact that the concept itself of the smart specialization is evolving. We have seen first 7 years of implementation over the last financial framework, the cohesion policy that is just ending right now. And the smart specialization concept has been evaluated already. And last year we have seen the results of the evaluation of regional smart specialization strategies. And Slovene smart specialization concept was labeled as strong, which is best of 3 categories, medium and so. What they evaluated was the level of granulation, of prioritization. We have heard in the morning the discussion and dilemmas whether we should have our innovation focus open or we shall specialize. Our smart specialization is an answer to that. The evaluators thought that we granulated the priorities perfectly in terms of the nature of Slovene production, which is diversified, and this is also why the specialization has to be relatively diversified. On the other hand, they evaluated also the streamlining of available funds in region to the domains identified in regional smart specialization. And also under this criteria, Slovene support system was evaluated as strong, meaning that relatively good and balanced share of available funding was directed and streamlined to the priorities identified in smart specialization. A week ago, I was at a conference with Tomasz Katrašnik from your faculty, and he said we should calculate and use mathematics more than philosophies. So we should measure and calculate. Smart specialization is about revealed comparative advantage. It's not philosophies and wishful thinking. It's based on revealed comparative advantage index of the performance of particular branches. So it's a mathematics-driven concept rather than policies and wishes. However, Slovene smart specialization somehow circled about 3 priorities that are today sort of embedded in policies. Green, creative, smart, or in the case of smart specialization, which was valid until now, digital, industry 4.0, and circular. And this is not a result of wishful thinking, it's a result of entrepreneurial discovery process and hard empirical data analysis. Huh? So it tells us that Slovenia has comparative advantages and opportunities to compete in what was told in the morning in what is becoming a competition field today. Green, creative, smart, double transition. So we had 9 priorities. What we did after careful consideration, and you see that they are pretty much diversified. They follow the nature of our production. We have pretty much everything from tourism and food production to robotics and key enabling technologies in ICT and manufacturing. Yeah? And everything which lies in between. I think that you will hear some speeches of our members later on. Huh? And each priority also has implementation down to earth cluster. We did establish clusters, so-called strategic development clusters for domains of smart specialization under each domain. This answers your today's morning question on collaboration, on the keyword from our morning session, and the dilemmas whether we are trained and equipped enough with collaboration tools or not. With the respect to smart specialization priorities, we did have excellent rehearsal in cluster performance over the past 7 years. The clusters, so-called SRIPs, Strategic Research Innovation Partners, the same abbreviation in English and Slovene, have been heavily evaluated and monitored throughout the time through a targeted research program. The evaluations have been published. We know the strengths and the weaknesses of how the cluster members collaborate. So we have an excellent experience on collaboration means in quadruple helix, meaning universities, research institutions, companies, both small and big. The only thing that we prescribed before construction of strategic partnerships clusters was a rule that did prevent the too strong weight of power of certain enterprises or institutions. So there is a formula for the management of clusters in the financial model of the clusters. So we have 7 years of experience in implementing support measures to collaboration, and here are some observations after those 7 years. One of the key observations is dealing with priorities, the other with collaboration itself, and the third with the policy mix in support of it. Concerning the priorities, my personal and also the opinion of our colleagues in line ministries, the Ministry of Economy and Ministry of Science, is that we shall invest much more work into the know-how of market potential calculations and predictions. this is where we shall increase our capacities, so to be able to program the production fields in future. That's where we were not happy with the results until now, and we will have to remedy this weakness with stronger criteria on excellency and impact in the implementation measures. The second observation is that we will need to tailor design the policy mix for introduction of key enabling technologies and horizontal priorities like transition to circular economy and all key enabling technologies that we have under the factories of the future and ICT. So this is a strong feedback from evaluation. We will need to target the support measures for CATS much more strongly to make our value chains in this respect stronger. And of course, the internationalization, which is important for today's debate. You will see that on this slide that there has been strong emphasis on internationalization. We are members of Vanguard Initiative as a country, as a region, as both regions. We are active in smart specialization platforms managed by a joint research center in Sevilla, and we are strongly embedded in knowledge innovation communities with several partners. So there has been a strong step forward made in this direction. I will speak in the continuation about new instruments that are being developed to strengthen the cross-regional and intra-regional cooperation. Smart specialization is all about cross-regional cooperation of actors in the value chain across regions identified in smart specialization strategies. So instrument of European Union will be in future following this line, and that's where smart specialization is evolving. I will show you some cases later on. So we are transiting to a new smart specialization strategy for a new financial period. I will go very quickly through it because all of you who are familiar with the concept know that we preserved the priorities pretty much as they were, with one exemption. The ICT, key enabling technologies, will be treated as a separate domain, and the horizontals and key enabling technologies are put in the center of gravity of the future policy mix. What you see in the very center is the objective of green transition. Our partners, not with wishful thinking, but with empirical-based study of behavior of companies and the institutions, our companies have been transiting to green timely. And what we see in focus areas of our strategic partnerships is already a motion towards green, while key enabling technologies are playing a key role to make the manufacturing and the production green. So the key enabling technologies are largely understood as a vehicle towards green. So the policy mix will be pretty much following the strategy as it was until now, covering the TRL levels in a whole cycle. Huh? So now I did skip the information on finances because you will receive this in deliverables, and also because the financial package for the cohesion policy has not been sealed yet. We still have some months to go to negotiate the funding and for the policy of Objective 1, where the smart specialization is an enabling condition for funding. But now I really want to draw your attention to some new instruments in support of cross-regional cooperation on the domains of regional smart specialization. One of the examples that you might have come across is a new instrument managed by EASME agency, which is Interregional Innovation Investment, so-called I3, with 3 thematic areas. Again, digital, green, and smart manufacturing. It's your domain directly, with 2 strands. One is focused on developed regions and directly supporting to the market, which means above TRL 6, with substantial funding to 4 to 10 million. 70% of funding shall go directly to investment to piloting and demonstration activities. So in my view, this is really tailor-made instrument based on smart specialization concepts, directly matching the needs of Slovene production. Slovene production being niche producers in European and international value scale. Value chains. This instrument is directly answering to the value of death problem of investments of our companies. So piloting and demonstrating above TRL 6. So all projects that were done under framework program Horizon Now or Interreg or any other cross-border project is ideal to compete. First opening was closed in February. The projects have been evaluated and the results are known from yesterday, I think. I think we have one of the partners of a winning consortia here in the room. Aleš has just received yesterday an answer that their projects have won. So Slovenia has an experience of a winning project in this respect, and you have a colleague here. So I think that this is one of the instruments that gives you an answer where the support mechanisms in European Union will evolve beyond everything that you heard elsewhere. So EIT instruments, of course, Horizon instruments for lower TRLs and so on. The general objective of I3 instrument is, as you see, demonstration supporting S3 priorities. But then I will, in the last minute, I will just inform you that the concept of smart specialization is evolving systemically in a sense of cross-regional cooperation through the last pilot, which was announced in April this year. And is managed by the Committee of Regions and European Commission jointly. And they have opened a call for a pilot action on cooperation on smart specialization. And we applied as a smart specialization unit of Slovenia, and we won. So we are a part of this pilot. This pilot will research and search for new ways of cross-regional cooperation, which will at the end in financial instruments. So that's the name of the game, strengthening the cross-regional cooperation so that all the players that are competitive and can contribute to European competitive value chains in future will be stimulated also via this project, which will run for the next 12 months. It did not start yet. It will start in September. But there is an excellent playbook published on this link. Please do consult it. It's on Joint Research Center website. This playbook is a result of a state-of-the-art result of the thinking of European experts in terms of future financial and support policies. You will see that the regulation, the last regulation on taxonomy, is built in already in this playbook, with thematic sheets on particular technologies concerning no significant harm principle. framework programs and for Horizon and for other European centralized instruments, and I see how the no significant harm principle is slowly, step by step, but firmly getting into evaluation procedures. In a few years, you will see technically sophisticated criteria in the calls for funding and for revolving funding also, that will not allow any funding but for green transition in terms of support of Green Deal. So this is something that our industries and R&D players should look into very seriously right now. So this is pretty much the picture of where this evolution of smart specialization thinking is fitting. Horizon, cohesion policy, and complementary policies for competitiveness of European Union. So this will be from my part. Thank you very much.